Our panel is back. John Ziegler, host of the Death of Journalism podcast, and Dina Dahl is legal analyst for Midas Touch. John, your thoughts on this, and is this helping make life more affordable for the average American?
Not really. The part about this that is most confusing to me, we all know about Trump's ego, right? But does he not think things through? Because here's what's going to happen. Even if he gets his way, there's going to be a future Democratic president. And that future Democratic president is going to have a massive ceremony to change the name back to Kennedy Center. And all that Trump is doing is increasing the level of orgasms that Democrats are going to have once he's out of office, because they will be able to undo everything like this that he has done. I really don't understand the logic. I really don't.
What do you think the logic is?
I mean, him threatening to destroy. He's an incredibly sore loser. I mean, we're still suffering from the fact that he lost.
Well, he's the
Joe
president.
Biden.
He's not the loser. He's the president.
He cannot accept any loss, even something like this. And that just shows he's incapable, really, of having the capacity to be president, and yet he is.
Well, he certainly has a high opinion of himself based off of the Truth Social post that he put out today, which may or may not be a joke. I don't know. It says, who is the greatest president of all time? And ahead of Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, Donald J. Trump. And interestingly, he puts in the average category Bill Clinton, but puts in the failure category Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Jimmy Carter. How would you rate this?
My concern about this as a real conservative is that no real conservative would ever put FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, ahead of Teddy Roosevelt.
That's your concern.
That's my concern. Because this is like a liberal putting Bernie Sanders below Colonel Sanders, or Martin Luther King below Don King. I mean, this is ridiculous. Everyone knows that Donald Trump's going to put himself at the top of the list. That's just a joke. But the fact that he was so lazy that he apparently took a 1948 historians list and then mismatched it around a little bit while putting himself at the top, apparently that's what occurred, is really maybe the most concerning thing. At least put some effort into this.
Well, and also Herbert Hoover, an average president. You had the Depression. James Buchanan, an average president. You end up with the Civil War. I mean, we could get deeper into this.
I mean, the fact that he has to do this at all, put his name on the Kennedy Center, put his name on an airport, put his name on the currency. Usually in this country, we do that after a president has passed because we want to honor their legacy. He knows all of this shows how deeply insecure he is, how deeply unpopular he knows he is, and he doesn't trust people to honor him after his death, so he forces it now.
I mean, if this was another president who did this and put out that list itself, that would be a top story and a huge thing for weeks, people talking about it. And this is like going to be a blip because there's so much stuff that comes out.
To me, that's the biggest problem with the Trump administration culturally, is the desensitization. We are so desensitized to so many things, and he uses this to his advantage.
I mean, could you imagine what folks on your side, if
Obama.
Barack Obama put out a post that said he was a better president than Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, you think our friends on another network would let that go?
That would be about a 3-week story.
At least.
And he wouldn't need to because everyone else does it for him.
Speaking of renaming, there is Lake Ontario, which President Trump now wants to rename as Lake America, of course, in the wake of the Gulf of Mexico being named Gulf America. Is it good that America is going to be honored in such a way?
Absolutely not at all. He's embarrassing. He's so embarrassing on a national stage. And he's also a bully. And he's so used to the Republican men in particular having no spine when it comes to him. And so he thinks he can boss around Canada and boss around Mexico and rename things and be this strong guy. But it just makes him look weak because he's doing it because Canada's not falling in line, and they're not because they don't need to like he thinks they do.
To me, this is sad. This is a lot like Hollywood running out of ideas. No one likes all the sequels. This is obviously a sequel to the Gulf of America. If you really want to go after Canada, right, use a little imagination. instead of being lazy like Trump is. You want to go after Canada, get the NHL to rename the Stanley Cup the Trump Cup and watch heads explode. That's how you get Canada. They're not going to care about Lake Ontario. That is not going to matter to Canadians. But to me, it's the saddest part about this is the laziness and the lack of imagination, because Trump used to be pretty good at this kind of stuff.
He needs a Johnny Infantino running the
Like
NHL,
I said,
maybe.
cognitive decline.
So now something you two might disagree on, which is the U.S. Postal Service is now in the midst of a legal battle. President Trump wants the USPS to help him sort of regulate mail-in balloting to states like California and other states that do universal mail-in balloting. Democratic states now pushing back in court. A judge saying, put the brakes on. The USPS earlier today saying, we're full steam ahead. How do you see this issue, John?
To me, mail-in balloting is inherently vulnerable to some fraud. Not the kind of fraud that Donald Trump talks about, not the kind that will rig an election. But to me, it needs to be curtailed. So I am supportive of making more rigorous and strenuous safeguards against fraud in mail-in voting. But here's the bigger picture that I don't understand. The whole idea of mail-in voting is to make voting as easy as possible, easier than it currently is. In my view, voting is already way too easy. We have people who have no business voting, who are now getting ballots at home universally, who are just willy-nilly filling out ballots, having no idea who they're voting for. Who is in favor of that? Tell me, who is in favor of
the
more
Constitution?
people? No.
Constitution.
Alex, that's
favor of
totally
people.
wrong. That is totally wrong. There is no obligation to vote. There is
have
a
a
right to
right.
vote.
Right.
I think everyone should have a right to vote, but no obligation whatsoever, especially if you're not paying attention and you have no clue about our system.
That's why I always say get informed and then vote. I don't just say
thank
just
you.
vote. But
Oh my
but
gosh.
isn't it good to try to make it easier for
No.
people
Yes,
to vote?
absolutely. First
No.
of all, nobody has an obligation to turn in that ballot, but I don't think a Republican should be trying to argue that only educated voters should vote. But first
I
of all,
don't care who they vote for. I want
first of
educated
all-
voters.
Okay, this really what this is about is creating chaos for the midterms. This is why the Supreme Court emergency order was a win for Trump, because that spring executive order basically directed the Postal Service to come up with a rule. They just came up with this rule, which is redesign the envelopes and have states put forward the envelope and have the Postal Service approve it. And there's no timeline for how long they have to take to approve it. Then the states have to input their voter registration into a portal. This is a disaster. I don't know about you, but I already got something in the mail from California saying, hey, the election's around the corner. It is too late. Even if this is a good idea, which we haven't even had Congress weigh in, Congress would have to weigh in, not by executive order. I mean, there's so many things about this as unconstitutional.
Can't you just admit?
But it's also chaotic. And it makes elections distrustful the more chaos there is.
Can't you just admit that you guys love mail-in balloting because it
I
helps you
love
politically?
voting. I love voting.
No, it's good for Democrats. That's why
Well,
you like it.
if voting is good for Democrats,
It
that
is
means
interesting,
that it's
though, John.
popular policies.
We showed a study last night from that Caltech commissioned that showed that it actually didn't advantage one party or the other. And that it was
I would like to take a look at that. I would like to take a look at
I mean,
that.
I would think
But to me-
seniors, I
Yeah,
imagine seniors probably like it.
We've got to go, but would love to have you guys back to talk more. I don't think this issue is going away anytime soon. Dina,
Definitely not.
John, thank you.